We are back once again. I have been so busy this weekend, so I needed to have something that I could put forth for a Monday video in the little bit of time I have. I'm going to do something similar to the video I put out on Friday, the Nor and the Wary video. But I didn't like that video because I feel like I didn't have any real focus. So I think it's a cool idea conceptually. I just think needs a little bit more work on execution. So I'm going to try to do something a little similar today. This time we're talking about everyone's favorite recently unbanned commander, Braids Cabal Minion. Braids is a very toxic commander. You got to build a deck kind of around her very, very specifically in order to get any use out of her. I have never won with this deck. I've played it 3 times. I limit myself on how much I play it, of course, because I like having friends. But we're going to go ahead and we're just going to kind of look through these cards real quick and just see what's in here, and I'll kind of explain the idea. So I mean, obviously, Swiftfoot Boots, that's a generic, protect your commander card, which is very important in a deck like Braids. Again, just in case anyone didn't read this yet and doesn't know, Braids at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player sacrifices an artifact, creature, or land. That's everybody, including myself. So you ideally you want to get her out fast, right? Fast mana, get this girl out on the field and keep her out as long as you can. Because they can sacrifice land. And you just kind of really shut everyone down. There is a recent addition to the deck that I made that we'll go over when we get to it, but let's just go through these cards again. Will of the Abzan, again, more sacrifice. There's going to be a lot of that. But you can also return a creature card from your graveyard. And it's better if you have your commander. So that's, again, we'll put this in the sacrifice pile. Mindstone. Dark Ritual, fast mana. Generic. Smokestack. At the beginning of your upkeep, you put a soot counter on it. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player sacrifices a permanent for each soot counter. So again, we're talking about sacrifice here. Keep everyone's board state basically wiped out. This deck is toxic. I will have a link to the deck list, of course, in the description below for you guys if you really want to lose all your friends. So this lets you draw cards and make treasure tokens, which is nice. And it does require you to cast sacrifice an artifact or a creature to cast it. So we'll put this as it's hard to say because it's like at this point you're drawing cards. So we'll put it in this third pile over here for just kind of like not truly generic because like that's up here, like anything that can go into any commander deck, fast mana, and then just like card draw and treasure tokens are always good. Swamps, a lot of swamps in this, a lot of basic lands, which is nice. It's a cheap land base. Fast mana from Call of the Week. So this is one of the new cards that I added from Final Fantasy. And when he enters, you choose an opponent until end of turn. Other creatures other than Xenos, EA, Galvus, and the chosen creature get -2/-2. Then when the chosen creature leaves the battlefield, transform him. And I'll go ahead and as this creature transforms into Shinryu, choose an opponent. And then when the chosen player loses the game, you win the game. So I actually wanted to put this into this deck because one of the problems with Braids is the only real win con is to just make everybody scoop. So with this card now, I have the opportunity to kind of throw him out late game when someone's almost dead and hopefully flip him, name that person, and then get them out of the game myself, because obviously no one's going to go after him then. But so he is a win con basically in the deck. This is a Stax card, obviously, Winter Moon. I guess we'll put this in. This will be the Stax pile. Anything for sacrifice and Stax. Gray Merchant, honestly, is he's almost like a win con himself as well, especially if you can like recur him somehow. I'll put him in the win con pile. He's a soft win con because he's very unlikely to win you a game just with a single cast like early on or something, but later in the game he can really do wonders for you. Fast mana, generic, more sacrifice. Oh yeah, this is so I love this card. It's so expensive. It's just a Stax card though. Sphere of Resistance. Spells cost 1 more to cast. Throne of Amethyst. Stax. This is another new one. Darkness Crystal. So this lets my black spells cost 1 less. If a non-token creature an opponent controls would die, exile it instead, and you gain 2 life. So that's nice because it's got like a Leyline of the Void soft effect. And then you can also play cards that have been exiled by the Darkness Crystal with 2+1+ encounters on it. So I won't put this hard into a win con, but it is definitely a very strong card for this deck because everyone's going to be sacrificing or discarding stuff. Although I guess if discarding it won't exile. So this is still, I mean, at the end of the day, my black spells cost 1 less to cast is nice, and the fact that anything that gets put on the battlefield and then sacrificed gets exiled, also nice. This one's I may take this one out. Just because it occurred to me that like after the first few rounds, ideally, this isn't going to trigger too much because they're not going to be having creatures to sacrifice, but who knows? We'll see how it plays. I will put this in here, I guess. I don't know, it doesn't really have a good spot. It's just kind of on its own. This is also, I'll call this a Stax card. If a player casts a spell, if no mana was cast, counter that spell. Phyrexian Tower, this is a land, but it's also got sacrifice, but we're going to call it a land. Land. Crypt Ghast. This honestly is kind of a win con in and of itself as well. And it just keeps me alive longer, and it gives me, but we're going to put it in the fast mana because I think that's the main reason it's included in this deck. Endrick Sar, Master Breeder. Whenever you cast a creature spell, put X black 1 thrall creature tokens on the battlefield, where X is the mana cost. When you control 7 or more thralls, sacrifice him. So he is there to facilitate Braids by giving you free stuff to sacrifice, right? Because again, ideally you won't really hit 7 thralls because that's what you're going to use to sacrifice to Braids. So we'll put this in here. We'll put this one there. Stuff that enables Braids more. Long Wilds, Swamp, Smallpox. I mean, this is, sacks, discards life, sacks a creature, sacks a land. So we'll put that in the Stax pile. Soul Ring, Swamp. Okay, we got this land, Nykthos, Shrine of Nyx. Choose color, add that mana to your color pool, equal the devotion to that color, which is obviously going to be black in this deck. Mycosynth Wellspring. When it enters the battlefield or is put into a graveyard from battle, you may search your library for basic land, reveal it, and put it in your hand. So this is just, again, this is an enabler because it gives you something. It gives you something to sacrifice with Braids. So into the enabler pile. Well, this is fast mana because fast mana for you basically can play Braids sooner. Hopefully, ramp. This guy, honestly, he's mostly in it for fast mana as well. Sacrifice him, get a mana. So you if you drop him out turn 1 with your first swamp, and you play a second swamp on your second turn, then you can sacrifice him to have 3 mana or something like that. So, but he kind of could go into a couple piles, but we'll put him fast mana. This is just kind of a generic, to be completely honest, because it's like, he's a land if you play him on the land side. Otherwise, you just exile a graveyard. So let's put him in the completely generic pile there, because you could put him in that. You could put him in any black deck. Nile Spellbomb, again, this is more graveyard hate, but it it gives you card draw as well. So we'll kind of stick this over here with the we'll put this over here, and actually this could probably go over here too, because this is black specific. Malakar Rebirth, yep, lose 2 life until the end of turn. When the creature dies, return to the battlefield under its control. So again, this could go in a number of places, and it has a land. We're going to put this in the generic black one. It could probably go into the Braids enabling pile, but it's fine. Springleaf Drum. Springleaf Drum is actually, we'll call it fast mana. Because again, you could actually combine that with the Blood Pet thing. Yep. So again, this is just a land. It's kind of black specific, but it's just a land. It's fine. Acre Wellspring, this is 100%. It's nice because you get card draw, but it's there to have something to sacrifice to Braids. Jet Medallion, fast mana. Pay 2, and then your black spells cost 1 less. Swamp. Phyrexian Reclamation. You can tap 2, pay 2 life, return target creature card. We're going to call this, again, Braids enabling. Paducah Bog can literally go into any black deck or whatever, but it's whatever. That doesn't matter. They're very similar piles. Toxic Deluge is like a board wipe. So again, we'll put this in any black deck. Sign in Blood, kind of the same thing, just generic good card for black. Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth. Honestly, we're gonna put this in fast mana, even though it's really not super fast mana because it still takes up your land drop and it only affects the land that the amount of mana land gives you. But it's like it's not fast mana, but it will help you get a lot of mana. So there's that. This is obviously Reassembling Skeletons. You can play him from the graveyard. He's Braids Enabler, Black Market Connections. Lots of options here. Create a treasure token, draw a card, create a shapeshifter. So he honestly, this could go into any black deck. It does do Braids Enabling, but it's just generally good. This is kind of more stuff that lets me steal other people's creatures and exile them instead of putting them in the graveyard. So he is cool. I guess we'll put him. I don't think he's super relevant to Braids, so we'll just put him in the good black card pile. Animate Dead, right? Enchant Creed. This is obviously. I will say we'll put this in the Braids Enabling pile. Same with Ornithopter. Each opponent. Yep, this is Stax. Sacrifice, or sacrifice. It's removal. It's really just generic removal, but we're kind of mixing Stax and generic removal. Leyline of the Void. It's just again good black card. It's graveyard hate. Blood Artist. Again, good black card, keeps us alive, but we're gonna just put it in a good black card. This is definitely Stax. Basically, he just keeps people sacrificing more and more stuff. Oh no, I'm sorry. This is fast mana. It does make me sacrifice stuff, but it's fast mana. Oh no, it's not. It's not fast mana. I completely reread this. I literally thought to myself, like, wait, that's not right. It's like a soft Blood Moon. It's really more of a Stax card, ironically, because since I was an idiot and got this wrong. If a land is tapped for mana, it produces one swamp or one black mana instead of any other type and amount. So this one's actually super hateful for non-black decks because when they tap mana, all they get is one black. And so it doesn't matter if it taps for 2, doesn't matter if it taps for 4, doesn't matter if it taps for X, doesn't matter if it taps for red, white, blue. It just gets one black mana per land. Yeah, this is definitely a Braids Enabler. When an opponent discards a card, I create a zombie. Whenever an opponent discards a land, I add 2 to your mana. Sorry, creature card gives me a zombie. A land gives me 2 mana. And a non-creature, non-land draws me a card. We will call this, because it gives us a creature, and we are going to make people discard a lot. We're just going to call this Braids Enablement. Entomb, just generally good card. Dreadhorde Invasion, again, Braids Enablement gives me a zombie every turn at the cost of a life. Crucible of Worlds. Also, we're going to call this Braids Enablement because I can now sacrifice lands and then just play them, right? So every turn I can just sack a land, play the land. Fell the Profane. This is really just removal. So we'll just put it there. That's what I should have done. I think I have another one in here that's, like Sheoldred's Edict should just go over here. It's just removal. Oppression. Yeah, when a player casts a spell, that player discards a card. We'll call this like a stack kind of deal. Lightning Greaves, generically good commander protection. Braids Arisen Nightmare. This is kind of just doing double duty with Braids Cabal Minion, just making people sacrifice stuff. So I'll put it over here in the Braids Enablement because it just kind of makes Braids stronger. Oh yeah, Bolus the Citadel. Look at the top card anytime. You can play land and cast spells from the top of the library. If you cast a spell this way, you can pay life equal to its mana cost rather than paying the mana cost, and then sacrifice 10 non-land permanents. Each opponent loses 10 life. This is just generically good black card. Victimize. Choose 2 target creatures in your graveyard. Sacrifice a creature. If you do, return. So this is, again, just kind of like a good, generically good black card that will just keep things kind of strong on our side of the field. They don't specifically have anything to do with like stacks. Add 1 mana to mana pool. Gate of the Reiki is put in the graveyard from play. Add 1/1. So this is a land, but we're gonna call it Braids Enablement because it gives us a guy to sacrifice on top of what it does. On top of just being a land. When you control Swamp, you can pay 4 life instead. Destroy target. So it's just removal. Swamp. Oh, Kirik, son of Yawgmoth. I actually have the Final Fantasy Through the Ages version of this. I might replace him. I'm not sure yet. But he gives us lifelink, and he gives us the ability to pay life instead of pay swamp mana symbols. And then also he gets bigger when you cast a black spell. I'm actually going to put this on fast mana because I think more than anything, like it lets us cast more spells per turn at the cost of life. Feign Death until the end of turn. Target creature gains. Yeah, so this is actually, I'm going to call this Braids Enablement because you can basically you can use it to keep stuff on your board to sacrifice again and again if you have to. So on half, destroy target creature. If that creature dies this way, its controller creates 2 tokens. Yes. So again, we will call this Braids Enablement because it lets us turn one creature into 2 to sacrifice to Braids. This is just land. I guess the one that has Dredge could arguably have other uses, but very, very minor. This is, I'll put this in the mana ramp fast mana pile. It's not so much good for like getting out Braids turn 2 or 1, God forbid, but it is, it's going to let us play a lot of stuff throughout the course of the game. Kaya's Ghost Form. Yeah, so again, just Braids Enablement. 1 mana to make a creature something you could sacrifice twice, or protect a good creature. That's also true. So like, it has double duty, but we're going to just put it anything that will give us, because again, with the strategy we're running, we want to get Braids out early, like very, very early, and keep her out as long as possible. And as shitty as this is, just get our opponents to give up. We'll have them lose all faith. I also don't I don't play this deck very often for a reason. Most of my friends don't play like super high powered cards or super high powered decks. Some of them they've been pushing a little bit, but a lot of them that's not true. My friends are like split. Like I'd say 30-70. 70% of my friends are pretty like, I built this online and it's pretty good. 30% of my friends are like, I built this online and it's like, very close to CEDH kind of deal. So Reanimate, again, it's I'm just gonna put it generically good. It could be put into the Braids Enablement pile as well, but it's fine. Draw 2 cards, lose 2 life. Yep. Strip Mine, we're gonna put that in stacks. Land, Bitter Blossom. This is pure Braids Enablement to get, in case anyone doesn't know, every turn you lose a life and get a creature token, which would probably just be sacrificed to Braids, depending on which ones you end up with. Yeah, I mean, we're also going to call this is actually double duty Braids Enablement because when it enters, you could sacrifice the land, and then when you do sacrifice the land, you can get a token to sacrifice instead. So, and it only taps for colorless. Beginning of your end step, if you control no... Yep, so this is Braids Enablement again, because you can get every turn, you'll get a decayed zombie token, basically, if you sacrifice the one you got the previous turn. Arcane Signet. Deadly Relic, it's just a good black card for removal. Feed the Swarm. Apparently I have a treasure token. Are these all my tokens? Okay. Feed the Swarm is the last card. Destroy target creature enchantment controls. You lose life. So this is just black removal. Cool. And then we've got our tokens. Yep. And so that's the deck. As you can see, there really aren't any like hard win cons in the deck. It is a deck built for toxicity. That's all it is, unfortunately. So it does make me laugh when I get to play it. I very rarely win, but I like having it. It's not the cheapest deck out there, but it's also far from like prohibitively expensive, especially because like I actually picked up some of the versions of the card that are more expensive because I liked the art more. So it's a fun, it's a neat deck idea. Just don't play it if you, again, like having friends. But yeah, that's the recent changes I've made. Like I said, are the Final Fantasy cards, the Darkness Crystal and the Xenosia Galvus, just to give myself a little bit more to work with from a WinCon perspective. And that's it, guys. I hope that this was a little bit more constructive than the Norin video, which I feel like I just lacked a little bit of explanation on some of these cards. I kind of blew through it too quickly. And I was really more thinking about it to myself than anything. But this is this is a fun deck. It's one that I plan on kind of keeping around and modifying over the course of the next however many years. But I had fun with it. If anyone has any questions, anyone has any recommendations, anything like that, please feel free to leave a comment. Again, I will have the deck list linked below in the description. And thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for hanging out and letting me blather at you. Peace out.